Something just happened in Destiny that's never happened before. There's been tales of corrupted ghosts, like how Asher's was changed forever by the Vex. And we know that ghosts have a setting that flips them into an entirely different mode. The Witness took advantage of this. Drifter's ghost went through this flip and didn't speak for years. But as we approach Mars and Renegades, his ghost Blue finally speaks. Here's what it says. The Drifter seems to have a big part to play in this Fate saga in terms of the NPCs we've interacted with. Edge of Fate had him deliver the Hall and suffer its consequences, aging rapidly. Renegades, he's gonna get captured by the Imperium and they take his ship. But we have received some new lore in Ashen Iron that points toward an interesting plot development. Drifter's title in the tower was Rogue Lightbearer. Now, he has a ghost, but you've never seen it, and that's for a reason. Drifter treats his ghost as a tool rather than a partner. He distrusts the light, yet depends on this tool in times of need and survival. We'll get into that, but first we have the new Azurine Thunder lore card, where Eris and Drifter speak about his ghost over a meal. I'm looking forward to the forthcoming reconnection with your ghost. Perhaps we will exchange pleasant memories about you together. Eris watches as her Drifter snorts, then picks at his food, grimacing at the shredded cabbage languishing in his bowl. Perhaps it had too much mayonnaise for his liking, but even so, it's rare to find something the Drifter cannot stomach. He notices her concern. It just doesn't exactly make the taste buds dance. Curious. With your diet, I assumed your taste buds never even rested their feet. Drifter exhales in amusement, staring at the remains of his disappointing meal once again. Wasn't given much chance to be picky. He sighs heavily, and a sudden feeling of dread sends lucent moths fluttering in her own abdomen. She understands. You are apprehensive about this rekindling? He laughs. To put it lightly, I'll be breaking bread with a damn fireball. Besides, with my track record, I wouldn't be surprised if my ghost hated me. I know I would. Those feelings aren't for you to assume or decide. You can only control how you react to them. He nods, digesting her words. Smiling, he picks out a carrot from the coleslaw. Besides, maybe we all deserve a second chance. He bites into the sliver of carrot, makes a face, and spits it back into the bowl. So the Drifter sort of dreads reuniting with his ghost. He doesn't want to be rejected for his past mistakes and thoughts toward the flying companion. Eris, though, tries to nudge him in a more positive direction, saying, "You don't know that, ghosts might not feel that way at all." Now this card is one of the first interactions we've seen in a while with Eris and Drifter, I think since the events of Heresy, so it seems they are still going strong, but back to the main thread here. Drifter's ghost speaks in new lore which we've never seen before, which I'll show you in a bit. We talked about it in previous videos, but I'm going to read all the entries here. But before we get into that, let's talk about the events that led to all of this. Why is there animosity in this beef between Drifter and his ghost? The Drifter has always had a weird relationship with his light-bringing companion. When he was first risen, he was forced to be revived over and over again in the cold depths of Earth because he would die of starvation. This was the first time he began to hate the light. Why have such an amazing tool, the power to be revived constantly, the ability to wield these strange powers, but there's this suffering along with it? Drifter kept his ghost hidden in those early days, and only pulled it out when the time was right, like when he needed it, and like when he performed several miracles for the towns and camps. This was during the Dark Age. A big turning point happened when the Drifter left Earth with a crew and found themselves in an icy planet. He was in that same starving situation, but this time the planet had tons of alien creatures that suppressed light. Smothered it, in fact. Several of his crew members died in their sleeps, and the creatures essentially rendered their ghosts useless. So it was there that they died their final deaths. This was also during the Red War when Gaul cut off the traveler's light. Drifter's ghost spoke up for once at this time, and it seemed to have an idea, a strange one. And the craziest thing happened. My ghost snapped. What do I mean by that? Let me step back. I think all this time my ghost was hoping I would fall in line, that I just needed time to take up the mantle of the traveler, my rebirth right. But that had never happened. It took hundreds of years, but my ghost finally flipped. How? Well, our escape was all its idea. If we could modify its light to replicate the energy effect of the monolith cages, it might be able to contain the creatures in some way. But we would need parts, ghost parts, and we knew where we could get some. The ghosts of my former crew all fled as soon as their charges hit the dirt, so me and mine, we hunted them. And then it came time to perform the modifications. Are you sure about this? I asked. There were lasers all around us, scrounged from my crew's wrecked ship. Just make sure it works, it said. So I began, sparks flying around me as I cut into its armor. If I died to the cold before I finished, all would be lost. It spoke over the din of the work. Hey, there's always hope. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. It was the last thing my ghost ever said, and the last lie it ever told. The next morning it was forever changed, but it had a brand new shell of armor, reinforced by the guts of 5 other ghosts. Its eye was bright red. It could no longer speak. The blue setting was there, accessible whenever we needed it, but the red setting would save our lives. It was kit-bashed and jury-rigged, but it could replicate the energy of the cages. We froze every creature we came across, brought all of them on board a new ship I cobbled together, now that we were free to explore that ice trap of a planet. It was a trash fire of parts I lovingly dubbed the Derelict, a ship that I added to as I journeyed back towards home. But ghosts can now tap into spectrums of light no one on Earth had yet seen, spectrums beyond the light. Don't get me wrong, I'm no herald of the dark. This was a kit-bash job. So up to the icy planet, Drifter's ghost was a companion, trying to get the Drifter to see the positive side of things, tried to be a nurturing partner, I guess. But after that switch was flipped, it turned cold and technical, had this red eye, and it didn't speak. It became the instrument the Drifter always saw it as. So knowing that backstory, it's kind of nice that Drifter eventually got a relationship with Eris to get some emotion back into his life. But all this time, the ghost was still there. What you would think should have been his closest partner in a sci-fi world like this was not. Now though, as we head into Renegades, this seems to be changing. You heard me read that first card where Eris alludes to Drifter reuniting with his ghost. And in the As Without lore book, certain lines of text are actually told from the perspective of his ghost, who he now might have a name for. The text, if you're interested where the ghost speaks, begins with a bunch of 1s and 0s, which when converted from binary says the word blue. So with that being said, here are Blue's thoughts. Speaking about Eris, she understood me in a way he never could, having to make it alone after Brya. She was vibrant, tough, a real badass, breathing life into his lifeless existence. And now, she's gone, and he's not far behind. He's shirking again, headed for the edge of the system like there's something out there. It's pathetic, old as a sequoia and still running away from home like a little kid. What a waste. In a strange way, I sympathize. If I could leave this gutless creep behind, I'd already be gone. Something told me to compile. Intuition, maybe. My first time in years. I was surprised how heavy my shell felt. He never saw me, but I was watching as something passed over the ship, or maybe we passed through it. And for a few moments, I felt fresh, bright, hopeful, like in the beginning, before him. He's gray now, aged decades in seconds. Hasn't said a word about it, but it's not like I want to hear his crap anyway. I wonder if the anomaly aged me too. Is my core all roomy and dim now, like an old lady's eyeball? Not that it matters, old or young, eternity is just as long. I try to think about how much I gave up for him, my voice, my agency. Not for myself, but for him too, so both of us could survive. If only I'd known. And she's back, just like that, even without a ghost. Funny how death works. Finally, a little gleam of justice. If anyone deserved it, it's her. He looks happy, maybe even thinks he is. But I know him better than that. He's just relieved she saved him from himself, again. This business in the Oort Cloud, he's playing with forces he can't hope to understand, like a kid waving a stick of dynamite. If he thinks he can get through this without me, he's fooling himself. His speciality. Guess he forgot, but I saw the vision too. We saw the same scenes play in the Nine's little drama. But I didn't lie on my back and wait for belly rubs from their pawns. The drifter I know would never take this lying down. The drifter needs to pull his head out of his butt and leave the prophecy alone. That dream has really gotten to his head. Drifter might think pleasing them will erase his history of screw-ups, but really, he's just adding another to the pile. I'm being punished. I only help him, and in return, I get a cold shoulder. I've never gotten a, hey, thanks, or good job. Not that I needed it, but I wanted more. He hates himself so much that he can't stand being supported. Best way to be heard is to not speak at all, huh? I was naive. I had only one goal in mind, though that's what we needed at the time. I don't regret it. I just know he wouldn't do the same for me. He talks about her. I keep thinking he'll stop one day, but he hasn't yet. Maybe he never will. She's different. She's wonderful. Too wonderful for a guy like him. She doesn't need a dirtbag like that. Like us. I hope she realizes it someday. I want hands, a face, and feet. I'd put them to good use. I'd hold a big gun and run faster than everyone. I'd snarl, spit, eat, kiss. I could be big and scary and beautiful. My body is perfect. I want what they have. Drifter keeps finding new ways to tick me off. He needs to be strapped to a chair. He needs a kick in the gut and a punch to the jaw. He needs someone who understands him. He needs an intervention. He needs his ghost. I can never say how important he is to me. The guy's already keeping me way past arm's length and avoiding me like the plague. I'd be out of my mind to expect so much more when I have so little. Still, I wish I could tell him. I'll be honest with myself. I know I'm being unfair to him. I know this isn't his fault. He wasn't perfect, but I thought he was mine. I'm starting to think that may have never been the case. He moves on and I'm left behind. I want to see a new universe, a world where he is the man I wish he were. I could be something more. It's just him, me, and us. Nobody else. We'd be selfish together. Maybe it's best I don't speak now. It still stings. In his eyes, he's had nothing to protect until now. He found his life's purpose. Great. He wouldn't have had it without a life, one I gave him. And damn it, maybe I'm worth protecting too. My silence made me grow. He never changed. He runs headfirst into every situation destined to kill him. He won't stop until she's safe. It'd be a hard task for an old dimwit like him, but I can help. He'll just have to let me. So Drifter's ghost is worn down but still devoted to him. Through all they've been through all the changes to the ghost physically, Blue still wants to protect Drifter and still has brief hope. The two may meet in lore or in Renegades, maybe cutscenes when the Imperium goes after his ship. Guess we'll have to see. But anyway, Guardians, if you'd like to see some more Destiny news, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.